Week 2 is officially in the books, and there are a lot of takeaways at this point in the season, both good and bad. There are teams that have outperformed their expectations relative to what they were supposed to be through 2 games, teams that have performed about as well as you would have expected, and teams that have flat out underperformed so far. But in today's video, we are going to be focusing on the 4 most impressive teams throughout the first 2 weeks of the season. This by no means is in order, nor does this mean they are definitively the top 4 teams in the entire league at the moment. They are, to me, the 4 most impressive teams throughout the first 2 weeks of the season relative to their expectations, and without further ado, let's begin. And we are starting today's video with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For the attention Tom Brady naturally gets because of who he is, they are not on today's video because of Tom. They are in today's video because they have been downright dominant on defense through the first 2 games, and they are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. They have allowed just 13 points in 2 games, and while they have only put up 39 points in those said 2 games, they have won by double digits each week and have forced 6 turnovers, which ranks 3rd in the NFL behind only Buffalo and the LA Rams. It truly is a no-fly zone against Tampa this year, as they have allowed just 379 yards passing in the said 2 games, and the quarterbacks they've played against so far, which are Dak for the majority of a game and of course Jameis Winston, have a combined 1-4 TD to INT ratio against them. This is extremely encouraging for Tampa, especially with their Week 2 performance, because in a lot of ways, this was a game they needed to win. Not because they may be knocked out of the playoffs already if they lost to New Orleans, or that their season would be over, but because the Saints were 4-0 in the regular season against the Bucs since Tom signed with them in March of 2020. They needed to get the monkey off of their back in a big way, and they did just that. Tampa's defense is fast as hell and has playmakers at every level. Point proven. When you think of the Bucs defense, which player do you immediately think of? Because there's several you can make a case for. Whether it's Shaq Barrett, who is coming off of a 2-sack performance against New Orleans, Devin White, Levante David, of course, we can't forget the absolute mountain of a man in the middle of the defense in Vita Vea, or even younger guys like Antoine Winfield Jr. and second-year pass rusher Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. The Bucs defense has a goal every week, aside from winning of course, but it's to hold opponents under 20 points, and they have more than done their job so far. Sure, you can make a case that the Cowboys or Saints offense isn't the best of the best in the NFL, or that Jameis in some ways limits the Saints, but the Bucs have been elite so far. They play the Packers in Week 3, and that is a game I, along with probably most of you guys, if not all of you guys, are very much looking forward to. How will they play against Aaron Rodgers and company? But to me, the Bucs have been one of the most impressive teams to start the 2022 regular season. Heading a little further south in the Sunshine State, we go to Miami to discuss the Miami Dolphins, who entered this season as a team on the outside looking in. They started the 2021 regular season with a 1-7 record, then battled all the way back to finish the season with a 9-8 record. I had my doubts entering this year, as down the stretch of the 2021 season, they beat teams like the Mike Glennon-led Giants, the Panthers, who are very much struggling as a franchise, and the Jets twice. I wanted to see more from them, and we have seen just that so far. The biggest question I had with Mike McDaniels was how quickly would they be able to adjust with him as their head coach, and how quickly would the system be able to be successfully implemented. And that's the key. Not just implemented, but successfully implemented. Based off of the track record we have seen from Kyle Shanahan, the guy Mike McDaniels coached under for over a decade, it generally takes a few years. But Miami did not have a few years to wait around. Tua is very much in a prove-it year. They traded a lot of capital for Tyreek Hill and paid him over $100 million, and they signed tackle Teron Armstead to a lot of money on top of all of this. They are off to a 2-0 start, and after being down to the Baltimore Ravens with a score of 28-7 at half, they could have folded and said, oh well, The Ravens are a very good team and have an MVP candidate at quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Better luck next week. But they didn't. And Tua rebounded after having a rough first half and finished the day with over 450 yards passing and 6 passing touchdowns to lead the Dolphins in a come-from-behind 42-38 improbable victory. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle each had career days in what will probably be the peak of this duo in a singular game. They each had double-digit receptions, over 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that is truly a historic game for a receiving duo. Miami, in a lot of ways, can go as far as Tua can take them, as I think they have a good defense, as they too, like Tampa, have playmakers at every level. It will benefit them tremendously when Byron Jones comes back, but until then they have one of the best safeties in the league in Javon Holland. Jalen Phillips is an up-and-coming pass rusher, and linebacker Jerome Baker. They are an underrated unit and a team I like very much moving forward. Ultimately, they will not put up offensively every week what they did in week 2, but I like where they are headed, and for a team I had a lot of doubts for entering the year, they have very much impressed me through the first 2 weeks of the season, and I can't wait till they play Buffalo in week 3. And now we travel a very good portion of Interstate 95 northbound to the city of brotherly love to discuss the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles in week 1 played very good against the Lions, and sure, like every team has in every game, they made their fair share of mistakes. Heading into week 2 against the Minnesota Vikings, it was very much, well, how many points will the Vikings be able to put up against them, and Jonathan Gannon is not a good defensive coordinator and the whole 9. And the reality is, Gannon called an absolute hell of a game against the Vikings on Monday night and made their offense look downright anemic. Darius Slay had the absolute game of his career, and the Eagles offense picked apart the Vikings defense on top of it. The thing that scares me most for opponents when facing Philly is they will wear you down over the course of a game. The offensive line is led by Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson, and Jordan Mailata, and one of the more unfortunate things about living in the social media era is everyone's highs and lows are posted all the time as a professional athlete. So there was a clip of Malcolm Rodriguez, a rookie linebacker, flipping Jason Kelce that went viral on Twitter from week 1, which obviously did not look good for the 11-year veteran. But the Eagles' run game is serious, and Jalen Hurts, while in theory only has 1 passing touchdown in 2 games, that's fine and is absolutely nothing to worry about. They've put up 62 points in 2 games, and there is no sign anyone is slowing them down. They ran for over 160 yards in week 2 against the Vikings, and a lot of the time on Monday night, the Vikings weren't even making initial contact with an Eagles ball carrier until they were 3+ yards beyond the line of scrimmage, meaning the offensive line was getting such a push and playing bully ball so much that there was nothing the Vikings could do all night. And I tweeted this out because, as most of you guys know, I am a Vikings fan, but one of the most frustrating things to watch your team go through is getting their asses handed to them and knowing they are getting their asses handed to them and there's nothing you can do about it. Philly, to me, is exactly what Dan Campbell has envisioned for his Lions in terms of being physical and kicking ass in the trenches. So when Detroit and Philly came down to a field goal, it wasn't surprising to me at all, and I would be genuinely surprised if Washington keeps this within a touchdown on Sunday, because Philly will kick your ass. Next up is the Buffalo Bills, and first things first, we wish corner Dane Jackson the absolute best in recovery, and we're obviously not going to show the play, but wish him the best moving forward. But Buffalo, through 2 games, has been everything as advertised and then some. They were my preseason pick to win the Super Bowl, and that looks pretty good so far. They've put up 72 points to their opponent's 17, and the teams they've played so far in the defending Super Bowl champion LA Rams and the defending number 1 seed in the AFC Tennessee Titans have not looked like they belong on the same field as Buffalo. That's how dominant they've been. It's only been 2 weeks, but Josh Allen would be my MVP through the first 2 games of the season. They have one of the best offenses in the NFL, they have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and they, along with everyone else, know it. The thing with Buffalo's offense is, let's say your game plan heading in defensively is to take away Stephon Diggs. Cool. They can throw it to Gabe Davis or Jamison Crowder, or even spread everyone out in an empty set and have the defense try and stop a 6'5", 240-pound man running full speed at them in Josh Allen. The only true knack on this offense is none of their running backs are elite, and that you can very much make the argument Buffalo's running backs aren't that good, but they do their job efficiently. They've ran for over 100 yards as a team in both games so far, and that is a trend I expect to continue. Not only that, but Dawson Knox has just 5 catches for 46 yards in 2 games. They've put up 72 points without featuring a player they just gave a $50+ million extension to. And that's not concerning at all as much as it is to say, this is how loaded their offense is. Dawson has been a non-factor, and the Bills lead the league in scoring through 2 games. They have one of the best quarterbacks on the planet. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL, if not the best defense in the NFL, and they have a burning desire to win a championship after losing a coin flip last January that they very much believe cost them not only a trip to the AFC Championship game, but ultimately a Super Bowl victory. There are a couple of teams that could have made today's video, most notably being the Kansas City Chiefs. I am also happy for the New York Giants, but I think they will lose some games in the coming weeks because their roster at the end of the day is not all that good. I love the coaching staff and their future led by Brian Daboll and Wink Martindale, but I think a team with Daniel Jones at quarterback severely limits what they can do. And with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I ask you to please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it would mean the world and help a ton with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please subscribe to the second channel where we do Madden rebuilds. The link is in the description, and until next time, as always, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.